you don't really hear a lot of people talking about the original 6 Mega Man games. Like, I don't know, like Mega Man, the whole series overall just isn't really that culturally relevant in our day and age. Like, back in the day, like, it used to be this big thing, and all these sorts of YouTubers were making all these videos about how, oh, Mega Man 2, one of the greatest video games, and, like, Mega Man 1 had a rough history, stuff like that, but, in our day and age, it's really just sort of fallen off. Like, there'll be the odd video every now and then, a challenge run or something. Mega Man 11 came out on Switch, but even then, like, there was a lot less, hullabaloo than I would have expected from a new Mega Man game. But, I don't know, I grew up playing the original 6 games, and, I've got a lot of fond memories of them, I played them over and over again when I was just a little kid, and, every so often I think about them, I want to go back and play some of those, because they are really good. Like, despite all their flaws, all their problems, the original 6 Mega Man games are all pretty good. Except for 5. I might be in the minority. I know there are some people who really like 5, who like what it brought to the table, some of the things it did, the new things it introduced. But, I don't know, 5 is just so it's bad. It's like, on its own, it's not that bad a game, but compared to like what came before and what would come after, it's not good, So, and today I just wanted to talk about Mega Man 5, but more so just what I liked about the other games and how I think Mega Man 5 got it wrong. So, to start out, you gotta talk about Mega Man 1. Mega Man 1 was a pretty low-down project. Not a huge amount of workers on. I think, I might be mistaken, but I think only about 6 people worked on the game at all, which is incredible, to make a full-size game like that. To people who are more familiar with the later games in the series, Mega Man 1 is definitely looking a little weird. The level design's a bit off, the sound's a little different. There's a point system where, like, you collect little things, they give you points. There's only 6 Robot Masters. But overall, I would say that Mega Man 1 is a very solid game. I really do like the weapons you get from the Robot Masters. Of course, Elecman's weapon is, everybody knows about Elecman's weapon. It's super overpowered. The flame shield, that's great. Well, flame charge, fire charge, whatever it's called. Rolling cutter, that's good. But, I don't know. And, like, there are some really solid instances of, like, level design, enemy design, and even just sprite work. Like, Mega Man's sprite was almost completely unchanged throughout the whole, 6 game run on the NES. And that really just is a testament to how well designed the sprite is. Sniper Joe's definitely look a bit weird, but, like, overall, it's very basic, but it is good. And like I said, it brings forth a lot of ideas that would later go on in the series. But Mega Man 1 didn't actually do that well, all things considered. Mega Man 2 wasn't really officially greenlit. And so, really, it was just a bunch of developers behind the scenes who just wanted to make Mega Man 2, but their bosses at Capcom were like, listen, you can work on it in your spare time, do that on your own time, but you gotta work on the games we actually want you to create right now. And so Mega Man 2 was just sort of made, under the radar, and eventually got a release. And, like I said, like, a few years ago, like, the whole consensus with Mega Man 2 was that it was the best one. I will be honest, I really do think I like Mega Man 1 better than 2. That's not to say that I think Mega Man 1 is this incredibly designed game, because I will be the first to admit, it's not. There's so many instances where, like, Mega Man 1 just, screws you over. But Mega Man 2, like, it doesn't screw you over as much, but it really feels like you're screwing over the game. I don't know, because like everybody knows about the metal blade. You can fire it in all 8 directions, you know, it kills pretty much anything. It does a huge amount of damage. It has like pretty much unlimited ammo. Actually unlimited ammo if you utilize a game design quirk, but and sure, it's fun to use, and like there's a lot of situations where it feels like you actually have to use it. You know, it's obviously overpowered, but that comes at the expense of almost every other weapon in the game. Like, there's almost nothing Metal Blade can't damage, and there's almost no situation where you wouldn't want to use Metal Blade. So it's just like, well, why would I use any of these others? And then when you try to use any of the others, you quickly realize why you wouldn't want to use any of the others. You know, Heat Man's weapon, the first chargeable weapon in the series, but it has so little ammo, and it's really not worth it. You can just throw like 12 metal blades in the time it takes to charge it up and fire it. You know, Bubble Man's weapon can barely damage anything, and even if it does damage something, the damage is pitiful. You know, the Leaf Shield is actually pretty good, but you have to stand still to use it, which sucks. You know, Airman's weapon, not a ton of enemies above you, to be honest. Crashman's weapon is too slow. You know, Flashman's weapon, you can't even attack while you use it. We'll get to that later. You know, who are the other robot masters? You know, this is what I'm talking about. Quick Man's weapon, second best weapon in the game. Really, anytime you wouldn't want to use Metal Blade, you're going to use Quick Boomerang, because Quick Boomerang pretty much literally damages anything in the game. I remember in Wily Castle 3, there's these fishes that come up from like the spike pits. They're supposed to be invincible, but no, you can kill them with Quick Boomerang, because Quick Boomerang you can literally attack anything with. It's also got a ton of ammo, it's super fast, you know, it doesn't deal a huge amount of damage, but like, come on, it damages anything. But so, once you have Metal Blade and Quick Boomerang, it's like, why would you use the Buster? Why would you use any other weapon? You know, what's the point? And I guess there really just isn't a point. And that's what I mean, like, it doesn't feel like super satisfying to beat Mega Man 2, because you're just using the same weapons over and over and over again through the whole experience. And it's like, well, I mean, what's the point of having these other weapons? And there's some places where it's designed to be used, like in you know, Metal Man stage, you're supposed to use, you know, the Flash Stopper to get past all the other crushing bits. That's cool. But it's like, come on. The bosses in Mega Man 2 are okay, I guess. Little basic, kind of boring. I do really like Crash Man. That's a good boss fight, I think. Very well designed. Metal Man's decent. Airman sucks. Nobody likes Airman. Nobody can beat Airman. I beat Airman, but no one can defeat Airman. Shout out if you get that one. Woodman, hitbox is janky. Whatever. Point is, Mega Man 2 is fine. There's nothing more wrong with Mega Man 2 than there was wrong with Mega Man 1. But that's not like a very high bar, you know. Mega Man 1 had a lot of problems, and Mega Man 2 just has the same amount of problems, but in different places, you know. But then we got Mega Man 3. Wow. You know, Mega Man 3 was really the first one with like a deeper sort of story, I guess. Not that you would know it unless you had like the instructions manual and you heard all sorts of stuff from your friends in the playground or whatever. But the whole plot of Mega Man 1 is like, oh, you know, Dr. Light and Dr. Wily are like, you know, scientist colleagues, but everybody likes Light and Wily is jealous, so he stole some of Light's robots and made them evil. Go destroy them. Mega Man 2 is, oh, Wily got defeated, but he came back and he made a bunch of evil robots to kill Mega Man. go defeat him. But Mega Man 3 did up the ante, you know. In Mega Man 3, Dr. Wily and Dr. Light have teamed up. You know, they're going to make this peacekeeping robot to safeguard humanity for all of time. But turns out that Wily was evil and he stole the peacekeeping robot Gamma. Well, that's revealed later in the game, but basically, in order to power Gamma, they sent out these robots to a bunch of different exoplanets to mine, you know, materials and resources. But those robots have all gone rogue, and it's up to Mega Man to go and take them down so they don't cause any more havoc. While he's doing that, Wily steals the peacekeeping robot Gamma and, you know, fights Mega Man. Defeat Gamma, defeat Wily. Wow. None of this is explained in game. Like, the only snippet of the entire story you get in game is Light telling you, hey, Wily just stole Gamma. And, like, the first time I played it, I didn't have the instructions manual or anything, so I was like, who's Gamma? What? But, like, I don't know, at least there is more of a story there than just there's robots, go kill robots. You know, be the ultimate fighting robot, you know, as you do. But anyways, Mega Man 3 is definitely good. Like, I really do like Mega Man 3. It's still got a lot of problems. Like, if Mega Man 1 and 2 are here, Mega Man 3 is, you know, about here. It's still a lot of problems, like, but it could be a lot worse, you know? I'd say the boss fights in 3 are, you know, generally pretty good. Like, the weapons, too. Like, they aren't as unique as, like, Mega Man 1 and 2's weapons were. Like, Needle Cannon is just like the Buster. You know, Shadow Blade is like the worst Metal Blade. You know, Spark Shot is, you know, worthless, but it's like the worst Ice thing. What Iceman's weapon? It's the worst version of Iceman's weapon. You know, a whole bunch of stuff. It feels like a lot of the weapons in Mega Man 3 are just the worst versions of the weapons from 1 and 2. But overall, they're pretty good. You know, people like to rag on Topspin. Topspin's fun, but it's very janky. But it's just fun to just spin around. But let's see. After that, you know, and I'll be honest, Mega Man 3 would be like up here, but the reason it's up here is because of the Doc robot things. So a whole thing is after you defeat the 8 robot masters on all the exoplanets that have gone rogue, turns out this new robot shows up, and it's like, oh, what's this mysterious, weird-looking robot? And you go through 4 of the stages. You go through Needle Man's stage, you go through Shadow Man's stage, you go through Gemini Man's stage, and you go through... Who cares? Whatever. So you go through those stages, and like halfway through, you fight the Doc robot, and it's using one of the Robot Master powers from Mega Man 2. And it's like, whoa, this is a crazy callback. But then, like, the Doc robot's really enormous, so it's like kind of a pain to fight him. His hitboxes are weird. The attack patterns of the Mega Man 2 Robot Masters just aren't that good, like with a huge robot, especially Quickman. Like, Doc Quickman is the worst because it's almost impossible to avoid him, and his weakness is Gemini Laser, which just lags out the game so much. So the game's lagging, he's moving around at like top speed, you're trying to avoid him, you just get hit so much, he deals a ton of damage. And the problem is you fight the Doc robot before the stage checkpoint, so if you died to the first Doc robot fight of the stage, then you have to start all the way over. And the Doc robot, and you know, the Doc robot stages use like the rush powers a lot. So if you die in the second half, then it's like, well, now I can't really beat the stage, because I don't have enough power for rush jets. So how am I supposed to get through this whole section where there's an endless pit below me? That is another thing Mega Man 3 introduced was rush. Because Because, in Mega Man 1, you just had the magnet beam, make platforms super cool. Mega Man 2, you had these weird little 1, 2, and 3 items that were okay, I guess. They're fine. Then Mega Man 3 introduces Rush. Now everybody knows about Rush. It's the little robot dog guy. You summon him. And Mega Man 3 had Rush Coil. It gives you like a super jump, stationary in place. Rush Jet, which just lets you fly around. And in Mega Man 3, Rush Jet was time paradox. Yeah, whatever. Rush Jet just lets you move really anywhere you wanted. You could go up, down, backwards, whereas in later games, Rush Jet just moved forward. You can only move up and down, really. Which kind of just made Rush Jet incredibly overpowered. But a lot of dock stages were designed around using Rush Jet that way, so it really wasn't that bad. There was also Rush Marine, which was really only useful in like Gemini Man stage and the Wily stages with water, which were really, really not a lot of them. So Rush Marine, cute idea. Let's see. And then, you go through the Wily stages. You fight some pretty underwhelming bosses. You get to fight another clone match from like Mega Man 1. This time there's 3 clones. Whoa, crazy, huh? And then you fight Gamma. Whatever. Mega Man 3, good game, but still a lot of problems. If the Doc robot was not in Mega Man 3, it would be such a better game. But it unfortunately sort of isn't. But Mega Man 4, in my opinion, is where they really got it perfect, right? So Mega Man 4, what it introduced was the Mega Buster. It let you charge shots, and the longer you charged a shot, once you charged it to full, you could fire this weapon that could do a ton of damage to enemies. And I think in Mega Man 4 they did it the best. The charging takes a good amount of time. You really have to commit to charging. Like, your normal shots do good damage, but your charge shots can deal even more if you're willing to hold it and find a good opportunity to shoot, because your charge shot's pretty small. Like, you don't get a huge amount of chances like to things, and it doesn't pierce enemies. Like it's really just a buster shot, but a tiny bit bigger and a bit more powerful. It makes it easier to face that first robot master, get through that first stage, when you don't really have a lot of powers, when you're not really doing anything. Overall, I think Mega Man 4 just has a really good mechanic with the Mega Buster, and it makes sense. It's the first time it was introduced. They had a concept, they really did it. I think they agree. And moreover, the robot masters in 4 are just... I'll be honest, I've always sort of thought as 3 as, the sequel to 1, and 4 as the sequel to 2. 3 definitely took a lot of inspiration from 2, but I think 4 takes, just a little bit more. Completely forgot to mention, 3 introduced the slide, where you hold down and jump and you do a little slide. Great, I love the slide, and it reappears in Mega Man 4. Amazing. The slide was a little underutilized in Mega Man 3, but in 4, you got a lot of good chances to. I like it. But no, Mega Man 4, Mega Man 4 was the first time they did the whole, it's not Dr. Wily, it's someone else. But then it turns out Dr. Wily was the one pulling all the strings. That gets repeated a lot. In Mega Man 4, it's Dr. Cossack. And it's like, Dr. Wily is, gone and defeated because Mega Man thinks he died at the end of 3. I also forgot to mention this about 3. I'm forgetting so much about 3 because 3 did so much stuff. Proto Man was introduced in 3. In the game, he calls himself, Break Man, and he, fights you a bunch of times. He helps you at others. He's the robot you face after you beat all the dog robots. You find it super mysterious. He saves you at the very end of the game, but he's like, oh shoot, I guess Wily's dead. But no, right. But no, and at the very end of the game, it's revealed that he was Proto Man, and he is Mega Man's older brother. You know, pretty cool, honestly. I think Proto Man's got a good design. You know, appearing in Mega Man 3, he's manages to capture that mysterious sort of anti-hero energy. I like it. Okay. Mega Man, but back to Mega Man 4. All right. You know, Dr. Cossack. You know, he's attacking, but you know, once you defeat Cossack, it's revealed Proto Man shows up. You know, with Cossack's daughter, and is like, "Hey, Mega Man, stop fighting my dad. Wily captured me and tried and forced Cossack to fight you. Wily's the real evil one." And Mega Man's like, "What?" And he goes and defeats Wily. You know, whatever. And that's basically the plot. Basically, Cossack attacks. Go fight Cossack. Turns out it was Wily. Go fight Wily. Very simple. But Mega Man 4 was the first one to have an intro cinematic that actually explained like the backstory plot. 2 also had a cinematic, but it was really just, it didn't tell you a lot about Mega Man or his backstory or anything. It really just said Mega Man's the super fighting robot. You know, he's gonna go defeat Wily. But no, Mega Man 4 tells us about Mega Man's, you know, origin. It tells us, you know, this is how he came to be. He was turned into Mega Man to protect the world from Dr. Wily. You know, now with the new Mega Buster, he's riding on a train, and it's so cool. Mega Man 4 is an amazing intro. And from there on, all future Mega Man games would have intros. But, you know, they're not as good as 4's. Come on. But no. Apart from that, Mega Man 4 has some great, you know, bosses. You know, you've got Dive Man, you've got Drill Man, you know, you've got Skull Man, Dust Man. You know, you have, you know, Bright Man, you know, Ring Man. You know, I can't be out here forgetting the names of the Mega Man 4 Robot Masters. No, after I lauded on them so much. Shoot. Toad Man. My guy Toad Man. Whatever, it's not important. They're all great, and just because I can't remember the name of the 8th one does not make them any less great. Okay. Alright, but whatever. You know, and the boss weapons are great. Like, you know, the shield feels like an evolution of, you know, the leaf shield from Mega Man 2, but now you can move with it, and, you know, it blocks more things. You know, it does disappear in one hit, but it's better because you can move with it. You know, the dive missile, you know, homes in on enemies. Great. You know, the ring, you know, is sort of like the quick ring where it comes out, comes back in. Gosh, I don't know. Like, a whole bunch of great stuff. You know, the Bright Stopper is like the Flash Stopper, but you can actually like fire pellets while everything is stopped. And, you know, it doesn't like drain all at once like the Flash Stopper did. Like, you stop time in little bitty increments, but you can, you know, do some. Mega Man 4 had the first screen wipe with the, you know, the Toad Flush, I think it was called. No, Toad Man's weapon. You know, it was the first screen nuke. 5 and 6 would both have screen nukes, but you know, Toad Man's weapon is still pretty good. You know, I must say, I say. Oh, Pharaoh Shot. Pharaoh Man was the 8th Robot Master. How could I forget Pharaoh? Pharaoh Man's so cool. And Pharaoh Man's weapon is like an evolution of Heat Man's weapon from Mega Man 2, where you charge it and fire off this big shot, except Pharaoh Man's weapon doesn't suck. what can I say? No, like all the stages are super unique, have these great aesthetics. The story tries to be a little bit more complex. You see the twist coming, but like it's still trying, And overall, I just think it's great. The music's amazing, the stage design is amazing. Like, there's no more bullshit. Like, I'll just come out and say, like, 1 and 2, like, had some terrible stage design. Mega Man 3 was a little over simple. It had some rush stuff, but then Mega Man 4 comes out and it's amazing. And it has these special items. It has the little balloon, which is just like the little platform from Mega Man 2, the item number 1. It's got this grappling hook where you go up to the ceiling. Almost never useful, but it is so fun. I love using it and trying to find places where I can use it. And you still got all your rush powers. You got rush coil and rush marine and rush jet. Amazing. Love it. I don't know. Like, I don't know what else I can really say. Like, Mega Man 4 is like Mega Man 2, but Mega Man 2, 3, and 1 put together, but only like the best parts of all of them. Like, it's incredible. I love Mega Man 4. It is my favorite Mega Man of the original 6. No. And then it just all goes downhill. Like, Mega Man 5 is my least favorite one of the original 6. I just don't like it. And it's the whole reason I made this video, so I could complain about Mega Man 5. Because it's just... why? Why would they do this? Okay, so the whole plot of Mega Man 5 is Proto Man is evil. Oh no, he kidnapped Dr. Light, and you gotta go stop him, Mega Man. Like, okay, what? First of all, Proto Man would never do that. Second of all, clearly it's Dr. Wily. Come on. But Mega Man is like, oh, I gotta stop Proto Man, my brother. Okay, so you go and you fight Proto Man's robot masters. Alright. Mega Man 5 Robot Masters. This is fun. You got Napalm Man. Great first impression. Stone Man. You have Charge Man. You have Wave Man. You've got my guy Crystal Man. Gyro Man. Star Man, and Gravity Man. It makes me sad that I can remember the Mega Man 5 Robot Masters better than I can remember the Mega Man 4 Robot Master names. But maybe it's because I have such a burning hatred for them. And it's not so much the bosses themselves. Like, okay, Wave Man, boring. Okay, I don't like the fight. Charge Man, janky and not well designed. Star Man, too easy. I like Gravity Man. Gravity Man is a standout. Like, I really love his boss fight, where like he switches gravity and he's on the floor and you're on the ceiling. And he changes it and you've got to use like the star shield to like hit him as you fly past him. That is great. I love that. Crystal Man's fight is just like Gemini Man's fight, but worse. Stone Man's fight is just slow and boring. Napalm Man's got a pretty good fight. It's not bad, actually. Okay. But then the weapons you get from them are just terrible. Okay, so Crystal Man's weapon. So it's this big ball, and you shoot it out, and when it hits a wall, it bursts into these little smaller balls that bounce around the room, like Gemini Laser bounces around the room. But they lag out the game, just like Gemini Laser lagging out the game. And the problem is, like, the big ball deals the same amount of damage as the little balls. So you want it to bounce against the walls to deal more damage, potentially. But then you lag out the game, and it's just, is it worth it? I don't really know. Charge Man's attack is actually pretty cool. Like, it's a good idea. Like, you, whenever you slide, you deal damage with the slide. But, like, Mega Man is not really a game about, like, dealing body damage. Like, they tried it with, like, the top spin in Mega Man 3, but it didn't really work well because attacking an enemy with your body doesn't really work. And charge kick is honestly, I kind of like it, because it makes you invincible while you use it. It makes sense to fight Wave Man with it. It's cool, but more often than not, you end up getting damaged if you ever try to use it, just like with Topspin. Water Wave is just weak. It's like Bubble Lead, but it's Bubble Lead, but still weak. Star Shield is like the worst version of Leaf Shield, and it's like if Leaf Shield and Skull Barrier had a kid, but the kid was like a disappointment, the Gravity Man's weapon, it's just a screen nuke. Off, go to space, Napalm Man's weapon is just slow and doesn't really do a whole lot. Stone Man's weapon is super weak and uninteresting. The weapons are not good in Mega Man 5. But don't worry, because the charge shot is back, and now it is objectively the most powerful attack in the game. It kills everything. The projectile is massive. I'm not sure, but I think it pierces enemies. Oh, Gyro Attack. Gyro Attack is cool. I like Gyro Attack. Back to complaining about the charge shot. The charge shot deals so much damage. Every enemy is damaged by it. It's got a huge hitbox. It charges super fast. The charging sprite actually looks worse for Mega Man in 5 than 4. In 4, he was kind of yellow and green, but in 5, it just flashes like dark blue and white, and it's super ugly. I don't like it. But no, and since the weapons are so bad, it's just I guess I'll use the charge shot because, what else am I going to do? Just hit them over and over again with napalm? With the napalm bomb? No, you're not going to do that. God, so I don't know, so you're just using the same charge shot over and over on every single enemy. The stage design has taken a major drop. We're back to 2 and 3 levels of enemies. I think of Napalm Man stage where there's a tiger below you, and it's that jumps around when you get too near it, and it's well, how am I supposed to do this with only the Mega Buster? And you're oh wait, I just charge my shot and kill it and it dies. But then it doesn't, because it takes more than one shot, so you're almost guaranteed to take damage unless you have some sort of weapon. There are these big guys that jump and go down on you, and it's okay, well, how am I supposed to hit that? And it's oh, just bring, the Star Shield. Well, what if I don't have the Star Shield? And Gravity Reversal. What if I don't have that? And it's the enemies just aren't that fun. There's enemies that come out of pits and instantly kill you if you're jumping over them. That's fun. I really loved it when they did that in Mega Man 2. I didn't really like it when they did it in Mega Man 4, but gosh, in Mega Man 5, I just hate it even more. Let's see. Other things. Stage design is bad. Boss design is kind of just boring. Weapon design is terrible. Mega Buster is bad. Just like in 4, it's oh, the bad guy wasn't really the bad guy, because you go through Proto Man's castle and you fight these guys called the Dark Men, where each of them has a unique gimmick. One of them, gets faster the more you damage it. One of them has a revolving shield, which actually looks really cool. One of them can freeze you in place and can freeze you and then fire a bunch of stuff. I'll be honest, the Dark Men, I like their designs. The boss fights are a little bit boring, but they're still cool. And then you fight Dark Man 4, who's all of them at once. But you can walk into the room and it's oh, it's Proto Man, and Mega Man's hey, Proto Man, don't fight. And then he's I'm gonna kill you, and then he almost kills you. But then the real Proto Man shows up and breaks his disguise. No, it's Dark Man 4. And then Proto Man heals you back up to full with an L tank. and then you fight fake Proto Man, Dark Man 4, and then it's like, oh, I can't believe Wily was behind this, and you go fight Wily. Oh, but Wily gets away. There is kind of a cool scene where like the ceiling is collapsing and Mega Man is holding it up all on his own, but that directly leads to Wily getting away. So, oh well. I guess Proto Man wasn't evil. Who could have seen this coming? Gosh, I don't know. Then, so the Wily castle stage is just boring. The bosses aren't interesting. It's just, I don't know what it is, because Mega Man 5 is not my least favorite game. Like, there are games I hate a lot more than Mega Man 5, but of the original 6, it is absolutely my least favorite, you know, because like all the other ones are so good. Like, they're not perfect, but for the most part they are really good, and I just look at Mega Man 5 and I'm like, why isn't it good? Even though I know it could have been good. Okay. And then there was Mega Man 6, which I don't really have a lot of opinions on Mega Man 6. Like, same basic contrived plot. Oh, Mr. X shows up, and he's like, haha, Mega Man, these robots from all around the world, I'm mind controlling them. They work for me now. And he's like, you better come defeat me, Mega Man. And Mega Man is like, I better go do that. So he goes and fights Mr. X, but it turns out Mr. X is Mr. Wily, Dr. Wily, and then he goes and fights Dr. Wily. But like at the end of 6, he does arrest Wily. Instead of just letting him go or losing him, he ties him up and he arrests him. You know, great work, Mega Man. You finally did it. Okay. Oh, something else I forgot to mention about 5 that I hate. Rush Coil. So in every other game where there's Rush Coil, Rush comes in, jump on him, boing, and you do. In Mega Man 5, you jump onto Rush's back, he jumps, and then you have to jump off of Rush to get the full height. It's just, why'd they do that? Another thing about 5 that I don't like, in every stage you have to collect a little token. You don't have to do it, but you can. And they spell out Mega Man 5. Okay, and once you do, you can you get this thing called Beat. It's a little robot companion. It's a bird that flies around and attacks enemies. But Beat, just like the Mega Buster, is super overpowered. Like, he deals a ton of damage. He's got a good amount of ammo. And on the last stage of the final boss, it's just, okay, Beat, go kill him. And he just does. There's no effort whatsoever with the final boss if you have Beat. Which is just, again, disappointing. The bosses aren't that cool in 5. But back to 6. The bosses in 6, I would say, are better than the bosses in 5. I don't think they're on the same level as the bosses in 4, but, like, they're definitely a little more interesting because, you know, and the whole theme of 6 is just these are robots from all around the world that, like, came to this annual robot competition to see who was the coolest. And then Mr. X, Dr. Wily, stole them. You've got Yamato Man, you've got Centaur Man, you've got Blizzard Man, Flame Man, Plant Man, you've got Night Man, you've got a Wind Man. I have no idea. Okay? And something interesting about the Robot Masters from 6 is that they were actually, fan-made. Like, Capcom put out a little poll and they were like, hey, design some Robot Masters for the next Mega Man game. And, kids sent them in and they picked the best ones and made them the Robot Masters. And I think that's really cool. Like, That's great. Community involvement with old video games is always appreciated. Right, so the weapons in 6 are fine. You know, they're just fine. And the stages, they're fine. Like, they're better designed than 5, but not as good as 4. The weapons are better designed than in 5, but not as good as 4. The Mega Buster isn't as overpowered as it was in 5, but it's still better than it was in 4. The music's still pretty good. Something really interesting that I do like about 6 is that on 4 of the bosses, you can fight an alternate version of them. You know, the boss is like a little bit different. You know, you have to take an alternate pathway to get to the boss room. And if you beat those versions of the bosses, then you get a little token for beat. And if you collect all 4 of those, beat does reappear. But he's less overpowered than he was in 5. But I think they scaled him back too much because now he's just incredibly weak. So it's like, I never really have the need to use beat because, you know, I can just use the Mega Buster. Or I can use one of the alright weapons. You know? I feel like Mega Man 6 really experiments a lot more with using boss weapons in normal stages. Because, like, in Blizzard Man's stage, if you bring in Flame Man's weapon, you can melt some ice and, you know, or blow up some containers, do whatever, and get to secret parts of the level. You know, if you, that might be it, honestly. Whatever. But no, so 6's big thing is the rush power-ups, okay? So, in this game, they were like, alright, what if instead of just Rush Coil, Rush Jet, Rush Marine, let's introduce some Rush forms. So, like, Rush, like, fuses with Mega Man, or, like, becomes a suit of armor. And I think that's a really great idea. Like, there's Rush Power and Rush Flight, I think. Basically, Rush Power is, you know, you're not as good at jumping or platforming or doing all of that kind of stuff, but you can, like, throw out these really powerful punches that can, like, destroy crates, that can, you know, break through walls, deal a ton of damage at really short range, because you can't fire anymore, but you have these really powerful punches, and hey, that's cool. And, like, Rush Flight, whatever it's called, basically you can fly, you have a little bitty timer, and that lets you fly for as long as the timer is active. You can still fire, you got compute, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, Rush Flight is cool, and a lot of stages are designed around using Rush Flight to reach alternate bosses or alternate pathways. And I do like that about 6. 6 has a lot of alternate pathways you can take throughout levels, and a lot of them use Rush Flight or Rush Power. And they feel really good to use. You want to use them. But every time you want to use them, you have to watch, like, this little 5-second cutscene where, like, Mega Man puts on Rush. And it's like, I don't want to do that every time I want to use these fun things. Because it may say, alright, can I do this without Rush Power or Rush Flight? Because if you can't, you've got to sit down and watch the cutscene. And you can skip it, I think. But even so, you have to go through skipping it every single time. And if you're going to be like, I use Rush Power. Okay, now I want to switch back to another weapon. Okay, but now I want to turn on Rush Flight. Alright, but now I'm up here, I want to use Rush Power. So you watch that cutscene 3 times just to go through, like, a 10-second stretch of level. And that's not fun. Like, the powers themselves are fun, but I really think they should have just made them selectable in the menu. Like, maybe if you wanted to watch the intro cutscene or have, like, a little cutscene explaining how they work, but every time is not good. It's not. Like I said, the bosses in 6 really creative. Like, I feel like 6 really does push the NES to not its theoretical limit, but it really goes hard on the bosses. Like, the bosses have super detailed sprites. They've got, you know, nice and complex attack cycles, you know. So not all of them are great. Like I said, they're really middle of the road in terms of bosses, but it's very impressive what they've managed to do. Like, the color palette is great, the character and enemy design is good, I think, aside from Mr. X. Mr. X is a horrible character design. It's just Wily with like a bee in his forehead and like sunglasses. Whatever. So, you know, you go through, you defeat Mr. X, it was Wily. You defeat Dr. Wily in a kind of underwhelming boss fight. It's, like I said, Mega Man 6 is totally fine. I don't have any big problems with Mega Man 6 like I do with 5, but like Mega Man 6 is just not that good. It's good, but it's not that good. And if you like Mega Man 6, hey, that's really great for you. I like it too, but 4 is just so much better than 6. And I sound like a broken record. I'm just saying 4 is great, 4 is the best. 4 has a lot of problems, okay? Every Mega Man game has a lot of problems. But I would say 4 has the least egregious problems. And 6 does fix a lot of 5's mistakes, but it doesn't fix enough of them to be as good as Mega Man 4. You know? Like, and don't get me wrong, I know I've been painting a sort of negative picture of the series, aside from how much I love 4, but like, Mega Man, the original 6 Mega Man games are some of my favorite games, and I grew up playing them. Like, the whole reason I have these opinions on the games is because I've played them over and over, even 5, even 6, like, just again and again and again, over and over. Like, got all this trivia, all this knowledge, because I love the games. But there's just some of them that I just really don't love as much, you know? Shorter video, I know, I just wanted to complain about Mega Man 5 and talk about how much I love Mega Man 4. That's about it. Alright. See ya.